Hey everyone, welcome back to another New World video. Now in today's video, I do want to come to you guys with another Life Staff Ultimate build, and that's going to be using the Life Staff Warhammer combination. Now this has been very good for me with soloing, but it is even that much better when it actually comes to doing this with a group. And as you guys can see on the screen right now, I am currently only at 55 and I am in the level 60 area with a group of 60s taking on the Enchantress. I know that a couple people wanted to see some of the builds kind of being shown off and how strong they actually are. And I don't do as much damage up here as I do in other areas, I can just tell you that much. But as my gear gets better, as I find better weapons, better life staffs, and better warhammers, hopefully that will significantly change. But I'm really enjoying this specific build as of right now. Now, if you guys want to check out some of my other videos, I have a life staff great axe combination and also a hatchet combination that you guys should go ahead and check out. So if you guys are healers, then make sure you guys check out those videos as well. Now, as the game does progress, I do plan on bringing more videos to you guys on different combinations that I have tried. But as of right now, I have been focusing more so on being a healer more than anything, because honestly, a lot of people need healers, and having the ability to be able to change from using the light staff to a warhammer or whatever other weapon you're wanting to use at any situation does help out the group in a huge amount, and they really do thank you for it in the long run. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to show you guys this, that going into a level 60 area is absolutely no problem. We were able to beat the Enchantress. I don't have it on the screen for you. It gets a little bit choppy here towards the very end for whatever reason, but we were able to get through it, no problems. Nobody even went down at all during this entire not even expedition, but a free world expedition, I guess you could call it, while we gather some supplies. But hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of the video. If you guys enjoy it, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would help me out a lot and is greatly appreciated. But let's get on with the rest of the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at the actual build itself. Now we're going to go ahead and start with the weapons itself. For the most part, my life staff hasn't really changed, but this is everything that you guys are going to want to put your time and energy and your points you're going to be spending into. So you can see that I've gone full Sacred Ground, which I absolutely love Sacred Ground, though I do like Beacon a little bit better. And then I also went into Light's Embrace, so you guys will have to kind of check. I've kind of fluctuated between Light's Embrace and also Divine Embrace. So in that way, I actually went full Divine Embrace. So you guys will have to substitute one of the points that's allocated somewhere else into that one. The only difference, basically, in my opinion, between the two is the cooldown is just a little bit longer. It does cost a little bit more mana, but once you actually get up to a certain level in your focus, it shouldn't really matter which one of these you guys go ahead and choose. So you guys can deal or heal your target for 150 weapon damage, and this is obviously just at the base, and then target heal for 100% weapon damage, and then 30% more for each buff on that target. So if you guys can get more buffs on that target, or they happen to have more buffs, then you guys can actually heal more to them if you guys actually go the Light's Embrace based on the base one. And then we got Inspire. When you heal a target with Light's Embrace, target receives 25 stamina. So if they actually are dodging quite a bit and taking a lot of abuse to their stamina, then you guys can actually go ahead and refill it, which is kind of nice. And then Connection, when you heal a target with Light's Embrace, gain 1% of the max mana for each buff your target has. So that is actually absolutely fantastic. Then obviously we're gonna have to go ahead and use a dodge, so we heal for 20% more effective for 5 seconds. So sometimes it's actually just nice to do a dodge at any point in time, and then we can actually get our heals will become 20% more effective for 5 seconds after just one simple dodge, even though we might not necessarily be dodging any enemies. You can just do a dodge and then heal, and just make sure that you're dodging right before you actually go ahead and heal as much as possible. It's not always easy to remember, but try to do it the best you can. Obviously, we're going to need Absolved. A light staff, light and heavy attacks no longer take any mana. This is actually very vital of any life staff build. And then we're going to go into light staff heavies. Now removes the debuffs when passing through an ally. So if they get diseased or bleed effect on them, or even yourself, you can actually take that away just by throwing a heavy attack in their general direction. Even if you don't hit anything, as long as it goes through them or close to them. And then we got lights attacks now heal targets for 20% weapon damage, which another one, honestly, very vital for any light staff build. I think that these three are probably the key to any light staff build going forward. And then we have desperate speed. When you heal an ally with less than 50% health, the life staff's ability cooldowns are reduced by 10%, and it can only be triggered once every 5 seconds, but that 5 seconds is actually going to go very quickly, so it really shouldn't matter. Revitalize. When a hit an enemy or hit an attack with a light attack, reduce your cooldowns by 5%. Obviously, if we can do that, it doesn't necessarily say that there's any max or if it's stackable or anything like that. So if we could stack 5%, then we could actually have virtually no cooldowns for the most part. I don't think that's necessarily the case, and I haven't seen that actually happen. But if you're throwing out a lot of attacks and not changing out your weapons, hopefully you can actually reduce your cooldowns even that much more. We have Enchanted Justice. When you hit in battle, active a healing aura around you and nearby friends for a 4-meter radius, healing for 10% of weapon damage each second for 6 seconds. Cooldown is 2 minutes. Now this one obviously can't be triggered all the time, and the cooldown is pretty long, but at least that when you're getting hit, you can actually heal other people around you, which is actually very nice. Now the next one on the list is going to be Intensify. We have heavy attacks give you increased healing by 10% for 10 seconds, and it can stack 3 times at the absolute max. So that's great that we can actually increase our healing by 10%. Obviously, that's just for us. If we could actually do it for everybody in the group, that would be absolutely amazing. And then we also have Sacred Protection. While holding the light staff, increase the amount of incoming healing by all friendlies in your group by 5%. So if you're constantly being a healer, and then you have a sub here or a secondary healer that uses the light staff as a secondary weapon, this kind of can help you a little bit. Though if you have the focus at the height that we're going to be talking about here in just a moment, this shouldn't really matter. And then of course we have Divine and Blessing, because we have more than 10 of the skills in the healing category. And so when we heal an ally, when their health is below 30%, it heals for 30% more. And I've been able to heal people at my current stage, and I'm only at a 55 and not even at 50, and I'm not even using some of the best gear yet, for almost 2,000 HP by using Light's Embrace, which is absolutely insane if you ask me. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Warhammer. This has been my go-to as of late. Now, this isn't fully maxed out. I have no other weapon that kind of is maxed out. The light staff is my maxed out weapon, but this one is actually relatively close, and there's only a couple more points that I could spend, so I can definitely tell you which of those points I'm going to be going ahead and spending. I don't use this as my primary weapon. This is a secondary weapon, but I basically throw down a beacon, and because you don't have to put that on anybody, or you can put it on an enemy if you really want to, and then you can throw down your Sacred Ground, have a ton of healing coming in, so basically you are a tank going into it, and then you don't even have to really worry about it at all. And then you can start throwing down some of your specials depending on which ones you guys choose. So we have the Wrecking Ball, the Shockwave, and Path of Destiny. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Shockwave because in the testing that I have done, it just doesn't do a lot of damage unless you're surrounded by a significant amount of enemies. So, and if you're doing it solo, this is probably not something that you're going to want to do anyway. But it only does 80% of the weapon damage, and it does apply a stun that is impacted by the targets for 2 seconds. So it can be a little bit nice. However, I don't really know. I just don't really like it. Now, when I was testing it using the clear out, as long as you're in a bigger area, and I'm talking about as many enemies that you would be surrounded by with Shockwave, This one, the clear out seems to be a lot more powerful. So that's just me, and I would actually recommend going these three. So I might actually dump these three and get rid of Shockwave and go with Clear Out instead, just because I feel like this one does a lot more damage, and honestly, I had a lot more fun with it. But you can choose which one of these two you'd want. So I would go with the first three, or choose these three. Then for the other ones that we were going with, we've got Hammer Time. So we gain Empower on heavy attacks, increasing weapon damage by 20% for 4 seconds, which is very nice. And then we also have adds Grit to the hammer heavy attacks and grunts a 20% or grants a 20% damage reduction while the heavy attack Grit is active. And then the other only one on this side that we're going to be focusing on is Quick Recovery. We got cooldowns are reduced by 7% with heavy attacks. And then the last one that I'll probably actually go with in this category is Contemption. On targets under 30% increased damage done by heavy attacks by 15%. So if you're in a group and you can get a lot of people down and a lot of enemies down or under 30%, then you can increase your heavy attacks by 15%. I do recommend that a majority of your weapon use with the hammer is heavy attacks, just because it does so much more damage than just some of the light attacks. But obviously, if you need to get a quick swing in there, then by all means, go ahead and do what you need to do. And then on this side, you know, we have the Outnumbered, so we can increase our damage absorption by 10% if surrounded by 2 or more enemies within a 3 meters of our character. And then we also have Acceleration, reduce the Warhammer cooldowns by 7% when using light attacks against targets with active debuffs. So obviously, this is a time that using light attacks would come into play. However, I don't really use that many light attacks, but when I use the hammer, I'm using more of the heavy attacks on a very consistent basis. Prevailing Spirit, regain 30% of damage dealt as health when using any crowd crusher ability. So either one of the ones that I talked about, the Clear Out or using the Shockwave, is going to be nice for that. I feel like the Clear Out is actually going to be a little bit better, specifically for the Prevailing Spirit, because I feel like you're going to get a lot more damage done. This one, so far, in my experience, hasn't done near as much damage when I'm in a crowded situation as the Clear Out does. Now, the last one in this category that I have already out there is Resurgence. So after 2 light attacks with a Warhammer, debuff durations on player are reduced by 25%. It can only be triggered once every 5 seconds. And again, that 5 seconds is going to go by very quickly. So we have 3 points that we can actually use.